It's a scamathon. No, not a Memorial Day sale trying to sell mattresses. I'm talking about Donald Trump. Cryptocurrency lining his pockets and his family to the tune of billions of dollars. $400 million jets from Qatar. Abu Dhabi doing another money laundering whitewash right in front of our very eyes, investing through Donald Trump's vehicle in order to line his pockets and curry favor with them. We break it all down for you so you can follow it with a scorecard, if you like, on Legal AF, the podcast. And here's a clip.
Popok, I did a video on this early this week, and a lot of people want to hear your perspective on it as well. We all know that Donald Trump held this meme coin dinner. The top 220 individuals or entities, most of them from foreign countries, who purchased Trump meme coins, enriching Donald Trump personally, got a private invite to Trump Resort or golf course in Virginia. I did a video on it earlier this morning as well, where Trump gave him like the grossest looking steak also, and like salad that looked like literally someone just like threw like leaves together. But you know, what else would you expect with the Trump thing like that? They weren't there for the steak and the salad. Let's just say that. So one of the questions was, though, as Donald Trump is violating the law potentially by doing things like that, is that now in his personal capacity? And obviously right now at this moment where Trump controls the DOJ and where the MAGA Republicans in the House and Senate are absolutely feckless and complicit, aiders and abettors of Trump's fascism, you know, they're not going to do anything right now. But in the future, with the fact that if crimes are being committed, does he have a claim to immunity or not immunity? So Caroline Leavitt, I think, thought she was being helpful because she didn't want to turn over any information about the guest list, about who was there, who was having access, who are these people who paid at least $1 million. Some paid $15, $17 million to be there. I think we, the people, should know who the hell are going to be there. What is going on? But she goes, that's his personal time. That's his personal time. Here's what she had to say. Let's play it.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Garrett, go ahead.
Caroline, you guys are very proud of your record on transparency. I have two transparency-related questions for you. Sure. On the president's dinner tonight, will the White House commit to making a list of the attendees public so people can see who's paying for that kind of access to the president?
Well, as you know, Garrett, this question has been raised with the president. I have also addressed the dinner tonight. The president is attending it in his personal time. It is not a White House dinner. It's not taking place here at the White House, but certainly I can raise that question and try to get you an answer for it. Okay, and on the Qatari aircraft, the Air Force has said they're going to classify all the information about the work that has to get done to bring it up to snuff to be Air Force One. Previous Air Force One contracts, including the one that the president entered into in 2018, are public. That's available knowledge. Will the White House commit to releasing who's doing that work and the cost of that work? I understand that some elements might be classified about specific systems, but will you commit to releasing that basic information so people can see ultimately what this costs? Well, Garrett, as you know, that's a question for the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of their fleet. Declassify anything he wants. Well, you'll have to ask the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of its fleet. Peter.
Yeah, well, go and ask Pete Hegseth, who just issued his own unconstitutional order, basically banning the press from even walking around certain hallways in the Pentagon that they always had access to. So the people who sell concessions and janitorial staff and others, and I think just like random visitors now have more access in the Pentagon than the reporters actually get. And then that's not to forget that the reporters were kicked out of their office space in the Pentagon. But anyway, Michael Popok, you take a look at that disastrous absolute immunity decision rendered by the Supreme Court back in the October term of 2023. And here's what they said about unofficial acts. As for a president's unofficial acts, there's no immunity, although presidential immunity is required for official actions to ensure that the president's decision-making is not distorted by the threat of future litigation stemming from those actions. That concern does not support immunity for unofficial conduct. The separation of powers does not bar a criminal prosecution or a prosecution predicated on the president's unofficial acts. The first step in deciding whether a former president is entitled to immunity from a particular prosecution is to distinguish his official from unofficial actions. In this case, no court has thus far drawn that distinction. Then it goes on to say critical threshold issues in this case are how to differentiate between a president's official acts and unofficial actions, and how to do so with respect to the indictment's extensive and detailed allegations. The court offers guidance on these issues. Then it talks about the context. The context on page 29. The context in which the president, notwithstanding the prominence of his position, speaks in an unofficial capacity, perhaps as a candidate for office or party leader. To the extent that may be the case, objective analysis of content, form, and context will necessarily inform the inquiry. Well, Michael Popok, if speaking as a party leader or as a candidate is enough to waive the immunity, how about a crypto snake oil salesman, Michael Popok? What do you think about that?
Well, I think a lot about it. Let's break it down. First of all, Donald Trump has made $330 million or more just in crypto sales. He does it a couple of ways. It gives access to foreigners who couldn't directly donate to Donald Trump to gain influence, because that would be against the federal election laws. Half of the 220 people that attended this dinner in Virginia at a golf course for Donald Trump were from outside the United States, including Justin's son, Banana Boy, the guy that made so much money in crypto and other things, that he bought a banana taped to a wall for tens of millions of dollars. He is now an advisor to World Liberty Finance, a company owned and controlled by the Trump family. He won the award for a $19 million digital wallet holding as much Trump meme coins as possible to gain access, showed up in a tux, posted some triumphant video of him arriving. And all of this, to Carolyn Levette's non-point, on the taxpayer dime, because unless Donald Trump is reimbursing the taxpayer for the $30 or $40 million worth of Secret Service and the phalanx of SUVs and everything that went into it, it is either a taxpayer funded private event or it's something else entirely. What we watched is one of the greatest grifts in the history of America and presidential corruption going on in plain sight. That's why you and I and others have to call it out. So you have half of the 110 people in there or so are foreigners who are putting money directly into Donald Trump's pocket in plain sight. He makes his money a number of different ways. He doesn't care what the value of the meme coins is, even though he and his family own 80% of the meme coins because they've only issued 20% of them. That's not how he makes his money. How he makes his money is controlling the market. He is the market maker for the sale of the meme coins. He just cares about the VIG. He gets a commission and his family gets a commission on the buy and the sell. So he just wants volume. He wants buy and sell because he gets a commission on each of that. In order to make this market work, to have the buyer and the seller switch off on the interface, there has to be a liquidity pool. And the liquidity pool is Donald Trump's money. So Donald Trump doesn't care about the value of the meme coins because he makes the money on the brokerage commission, right? So you got that going. That's how he has made since November, since January, $350 million for the family, just that. Welcome back. Look at the glasses. You knew it was Legal AF After Dark on Wednesdays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We do that podcast thing we've been doing for the last 5 years. If you didn't know why we call it Legal AF, well, now you do. Ben Meiselas and me on Saturdays, Karen Freeman, Ignifilo, and me on Wednesdays. And then we do updates every hour, 12, 14 times a day right here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Your one-stop shopping for all things legal and political. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.